With the power in my hands, what will happen when universes collide? This is the Universes Collide tag. Welcome back! I'm Pete. This is the Ponderings of Pete. And today we're going to do the final day of my week of tags. Today we're going to be doing the Universes Collide tag, originally created by Mason in the Dark. Original tag video link down below. I saw this going around BookTube and I was like, yes, this is so cool. And I started thinking about answers for it as soon as I did it. And then I was talking to Kate at the Almost Book Doctor and she's like, I'm tagging you. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. So I'm doing it because this is a really fun tag and I like it. It's creative. Shall we get into it?
Super late editing and very echoey Pete here. I talk very flippantly about spoilers in some parts of this video. I put tags down below, chapter tags in the description. So check those out just to make sure you can do all the spoiler stuff and then just jump around. Let the universes collide.
First one, the switch up. Choose two protagonists from two different universes, two different stories, and swap their places. So I am going to, for all of these answers, I have more than one answer because I really like this tag. And I'm going to bend the rules a little bit for most of these as well. So, straight up, Gandalf from Lord of the Rings and James Holden from The Expanse. So, putting Gandalf in James Holden's shoes. James Holden basically screws everything up. Sort of. He has the best of intentions, but he ends up making things worse sometimes. But then again, the question is, if he hadn't done those good things, would worse things have happened? That's really the question. Gandalf would have figured out the perfect solution because he'd just be like, all right, let's just take the thing and dip. I mean, we can get away from these guys. Why don't we just drive ourselves into the moon? That'd be fun. Let's just toss everything into the sun right now. That'd be easy. Gandalf would be able to see through all the mess that James Holden can't always see the mess. And I just think it'd be fun to have a wizard going through all that. Conversely, James Holden as a Maya. Oh my lord, the world would have gone to crap. Lord of the Rings would have... Oh my lord. James Holden would have screwed everything up. It would have been hilarious. It would be a much different story. Because James Holden, especially in the first few books, well, we have to talk about James Holden in the beginning versus James Holden in the back, like 3 or 4. Because those are two different characters, actually. James Holden in the back 4 would have been less altruistic versus the James Holden in the first 3, 4. Yeah, 4. He starts changing around 4. Would have screwed everything up immediately. Like, Frodo would have died. Can I really trust this ranger dude? I don't know. It would have just been an interesting swap. Another interesting one. Switch up Severo from Red Rising. And I know I'm not just going to do protagonists. I'm going to do random side characters as well. Even though arguably Severo is a protagonist. Severo from Red Rising and Mr. Knightley from Emma. Or really any male love interest in one of Jane Austen's books. Mr. Darcy even. Severo ain't going to have none of that. He's... put him in Victorian society like that. No, he's just gonna be like, no, screw you, but in more uncouth wording. Yeah, you want to take my in Emma specifically, spoilers, dude, Mister, you're. I don't like how you're leading Emma on, and I don't trust you. I'm gonna go shank you. So that would have been taken care of real quick, and Jane and I think it was Fred would not have gotten a happy ending, but it would have been entertaining just to put Severo in there. And putting any pretentious, slightly pretentious, but honorable male love interest from Jane Austen in the place of Severo, death probably would happen. I think Mr. Knightley could have convinced Cassius to trust Darrow more and stopped him from killing him the first time, roughly. What if, also, going off Severo, what if Severo had the ring in Lord of the Rings? One, he probably would have just ended up being corrupted, but we're going to ignore that for a second. He would have been invisible. He probably would have killed the Black Riders on his own. Or even if you put Severo in the place of Aragorn, think about that. Oh my lord, those... slaughter some wolves in the middle of Hobbiton and just been like, yeah, hi guys. Guerrilla warfare on the nine. That would have been hilarious. Arguably, he would fit well with the Rangers. A little odd, but he would fit well. There's a character in Northanger Abbey for my next one. He is despisable. His name is John Thorpe, and I would switch him with any character that is super skeptical and dies first in a horror movie, because that's what he deserves. John Thorpe would be put in a horror movie and he would go and be like, ghosts aren't real. Maha opens door, and then just get shanked by Freddy Krueger or whatever. I don't watch many horror movies. So yeah, he would die first and be super skeptical, and that's really what he deserves. I don't like him. Go read Northanger Abbey. You won't like him either. Trust me. Another one. Okay, going back to protagonists. Percy Jackson and Luke Skywalker. Think about that. First of all, both of them don't know who their fathers are, so it works. So, putting Percy Jackson in Star Wars. First of all, Percy Jackson's a sass machine. So, imagine Percy Jackson dueling Darth Vader in Cloud City. And I'm sorry for the background noise. Yeah, imagine that scene, but with more sass. You got a red lightsaber. Is yours bigger than mine? Must be compensating. Something along those lines. Imagine the throne room scene in episode 6 with more sass. You an emperor, or did you just crawl out of... I don't know. Anyways, you could also put Severo there and be hilarious. More sass, more violence. But Percy Jackson would do well. It would be hilarious. He would make fun jokes of Yoda, and Yoda would be like, well, it'd be fun. It'd be fun. Conversely, Luke Skywalker in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Outside of the sass, not much would change. He's still, righteous type of protagonist that it would almost make it slightly less interesting, but he'd still go out and do the right thing. Conversely, he would use a gun. He would probably kill more monsters by just using a gun. Because he's a good shot. Him, Han Solo, he would, jump in a Cessna and add some guns to it. That'd be hilarious. Imagine. It'd have to be purely mechanical, less electric. The next is not really a switch. It's just, I'd like to see these two characters in this world. T-Hole and Bug from Malazan Book of the Falling, specifically Midnight Tides, are financial geniuses. Well, T-Hole is, Bug is his manservant, and others. I would like to toss them into the world of Orconomics. Now, for those of you who don't know what Orconomics is a satire on essentially fantasy, and specifically D&D fantasy, class like Forgotten Realms type of really classic stereotypical stuff. And it basically takes that stuff and turns it into an economic system. So you have adventurers going out, and there's an entire economic system around adventures that's highly complex. There's futures on dragon hordes and stuff like that. That's so hilarious. T-Hole and Bug in that system would run this entire economy, and it would be great. It would be quite interesting to see them break down that system and its flaws and just wreck it. That's the fun one. So, on to the next one, after 20 minutes. V is for villainy is the next one. Choose a villain that you'd like to see to get their own book or their own story. First, I would say Roke from Red Rising. And I'm going to emphasize this because I think Red Rising would be interesting if we got parallel novels. So with Severo, with Cassius, with Roke, I feel like Roke less so than the other two. We get a lot of off-screen character development, if that makes any sense. That's vaguely referenced. Specifically, Severo's relationship with a certain person. That happens a lot off-screen. And I would love to see companion novels, much like how you have Ender's Game and then Ender's Shadow, where Ender's Shadow follows Bean along the entire story of Ender's Game. I think that would be valuable and great to see for the Red Rising trilogy, to see Severo, the story from Severo's eyes, the story from Roke's eyes, and the story from Cassius's eyes. Specifically Cassius more than the other two, actually. But Severo second and Roke third, probably, but I just want to illustrate that. Others. The Chandrian from Name of the Wind. There are 7 or 8 of them, and I think we have the backstory for 1. I'd like to see all the backstories. Please. Can you do this, Mr. Rothfuss? Just release Doors of Stone first. Then go do this. Just later. Okay? Cool. Next up is Sadius and Iali from Way of Kings. Stormlight Archive. I wanted to see more of them a little bit, honestly. They're both really dislikable characters. I would love to see more of their Game of Thrones power couple vibes in like novellas or separate things or like prequel novellas. That'd be cool. So Sando, take notes if you have time. We all know you're really great. And going back to Stormlight Archive, Raboniel. Oh my lord, I really hope so. There was rumors that we will see more. I mean, there's theories that in the back 5 of the Stormlight Archive, we're going to have flashbacks for Talon and for Ash, two of the heralds. And wouldn't it be awesome if those flashbacks went all the way back to the Recreants, to the even before the Recreants, to the Desolations, and we got to see them fight with Raboniel, or even see like them negotiate with Raboniel through one of these Desolations. That would be so cool. Like, she is a great character, and we want more of her. All right, next question. The Adaption. Choose a story, or a character in a story, that is not in another type of media, so not a book, that you'd love to see novelized. This was really easy. Jake Peralta, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think that in that show, we see too little of them actually solving crimes, and they're good at it. Like a Jake and Amy buddy cop serialized book series, I would eat that up. That would be awesome. Because I love their dynamic. I love the dynamics of the entire, cast. Specifically Jake and Amy, because they're great. And I'd like to see more of them actually solving cases and day-to-day, not day-to-day office work, but day-to-day field work. Be cool in a book. Conversely, I'm going to flip it and change the rules. Guards, or any in the Watch series for Discworld, I would love to see that as a slapstick comedy show. I think it would work well as a very not serious show. Slapstick, like, Simon and Garfunkel, the whole who's on first, what's on second. That's an incorrect quote, and I'm sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head. That would be intensely hilarious to have more slapstick. The crossover. Choose 2 characters from 2 different universes that you would like to cross over. Kaladin and any therapist character, specifically Gandalf. I think that would be interesting to see Gandalf knock some sense into Kaladin. This is a popular internet one as well. The next one, Jack and Elsa. I think they look cute together. I'm just going to say it. I think that been on the internet for a while. I think it's a cute couple. Let's go with that. This is another interesting one. Merry and Pippin with Rujin from Crime and Punishment. Rujin is our, I just call him Rodia. I think I'm getting names mixed up, but I mean Rodia, the main character of Crime and Punishment. I think his best friend, just putting Merry in Crime and Punishment, Merry and Pippin in Crime and Punishment would be great. They would be such lighthearted characters that would lighten the mood and be like, what you doing, buddy? Let's just go drink and have fun. It would be hilarious. And I think they could be good therapists for Rodia. The next one would be 2 different characters. I would like to see Thrawn from Star Wars in the Stormlight Archive, specifically interacting with Dalinar. I think seeing the both of them on the battlefield would be amazing. So cool. They're both genius strategists, or even just like the whole fireside chat the Taravangians and Dalinar had at some point, like that between Dalinar and Thrawn would be so interesting. Thrawn would win, by the way. Just FYI. Last prompt. The tonal shift. Choose a story that you'd like to see a different tone in, or genre. And I had some fun with this. Most of these are Lord of the Rings. So Lord of the Rings, specifically Hobbiton. I would love to see Agatha Christie style murder mysteries in Hobbiton. Much like the Miss Marple stories. I think that would be hilarious. And because, the Hobbits are kind of based off England, it works. So I think it'd be more hilarious if you put murder mysteries in there. Hobbiton, but Jane Austen. Also, kind of an easy one because England, they fit together. I think that would also be hilarious. Like, oh my gosh, let's figure out who's trying to vie for Frodo's hand in marriage. Sam and Rosie courting, but Jane Austen. That would also be hilarious. So many fun possibilities there. Adding in ballroom dancing, but it wouldn't be ballroom dancing. It would be something more down to earth, I guess, for their balls and their parties. But it could work. It could work really well. Any other stories that I want to shift? Can we shift Assassin's Apprentice to a happier story? Where Fitz isn't tortured as much by the author? Please? That's kind of what I got for that. If you enjoyed this tag, give me a like, give me a subscribe. If you didn't like what I talked about, then, I don't know, give me a downvote. I don't care. Fuel me. I don't know why you wouldn't like anything in this tag, but anyway. Thanks for watching. I'm going to tag people real quick because that's technically the last question. I'm going to tag Abby Salter because she tagged me in like 2 things. I'm going to tag Jake or Mr. Truthless from Canada. And who's the last one I was going to tag? Andrew from Wizardly Reads. Let's tag him. I don't think he's done it yet. You guys get to be tagged in this tag. If you've already been tagged, then you definitely should do this tag. I want to know what you think. And check out their channels down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know if you've watched all the tags I did, but if you watched all of them throughout this week of tags, thank you. Thank you for subscribing to the madness. And I will see you next week sometime. Time to move.